ba 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 dang 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 ding dong ding blue moon blue. That's my favorite version of Blue Moon. Anyway, all right. So, what am I talking about today? I had a list of stuff I was gonna talk about and I forgot. Oh, I know. Studies versus common sense. Okay. So you put on a mask and you wear it for a few minutes and you start to get dizzy. You start to get a headache. You can't breathe. Do you really need a study to tell you that it's not good for you? I'm just saying. There are lots that do tell you that can prove that. But do you really need that? Really? Really? Okay. I'm just saying. I would really just like to start seeing more people use their common sense, their critical thinking, and start questioning things. It's just getting really frustrating where people are like, well, is there a study for that? I fell out of a tree and I broke my arm, but I don't know if I really broke my arm. I just need a study to tell me that, like, that I really broke my arm. Like, can you break your arm from falling out of a tree? This is how these white coat magicians, these evil sorcerers that has taken over the methodology of science has trained us that we can't do or think for ourselves without their permission. Okay? I'm just saying that's what it's come to now, and it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. All right? So, I'm looking at these fact checkers, these fake fact checkers. Fucking fact checkers, fact check, right? Like, oh, well, post something on Facebook and they're just like, oh, well, this is rated false by the fact checkers. Because in fact, we tell you what to think. You can't think for yourself. So you have to fact check it for you. We got so many, we get fact checked on our Facebook page, I don't know, 3-4 times a week, maybe more. You have so many. We don't give a shit. We just keep posting shit. And, and they told us that they weren't going to promote us anymore because we just keep posting false information that they declare as fact, even though, we'll post stuff right off the CDC website and they'll fact check that. They're like, well, this is not true because we don't want you to think for yourself. I hate them so much. Fuck those motherfuckers. I hate them so much. Who are these people? They should go to jail. I saw somebody else that posted on Facebook you can post a question, you can make colors and stuff. They posted something and they were saying, should the media go to jail for all of the Russia lies? I was like, yes, but it's not just the Russia lies. It's not, that the fake science lies too. The fake science lies, everything. They lie about everything, literally everything. Not even they don't lie just a little bit, they lie everything. And I keep going back to that quote where I think it was Hitler that said, the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it. And I'm just sitting back looking at people, I'm like, oh my God, right? Even when I was, I tell people about the mask, I'm just like, they're not good for you. Nobody's done any long-term studies for people that like studies, that want to be like, where's the study? They haven't done any long-term studies on healthy people wearing masks for long periods of time. They haven't, because this has never happened before. So the closest thing, there have been smaller studies in smaller groups. And that has actually shown that it already harms people. So, and even I saw one surgical mask that actually, doctors do get deoxygenation from surgical masks, but they also, I think they replace them. They maybe don't touch their faces as much. They're a little bit more wear, and they're used, they're really used not to keep you from getting sick, but to, if somebody's doctor's doing surgery and he coughs, he just want to hock a noogie in somebody's a liver or something while he's operating on them. So that's why they do that, that's why they do the gloves and stuff, because you can't, I don't know if people that are all gung-ho about sanitizing and cleaning everything, but you can't sanitize everything, and you can't control everybody. And then I'm looking at this mask ordinance that they have. So they're like, yeah, people under 10 or don't have to wear masks. I'm like, So the virus only attacks like, you know, 9 and up, 10 and up, right? But you can put a mask on. You can go to a restaurant and you have to wear a mask in the waiting room. When you go to your table, you can take it off because the virus only attacks you when you're not eating. When you're eating, they're like, wait, we can't. We got to be respectful. You know, they're eating. We can't let any violence be going on up in here. You know, when they're finished eating, we're gonna get them. We're gonna get them. Okay. I mean, just the ridiculousness of this is how people are just falling in lockstep without even asking any questions. And then I saw that study. I laughed my ass off. It was so funny, and it sucks. And it was very disingenuous study or presentation. I guess it was more of a presentation. But it was very disingenuous because they're taking advantage of the fact that people don't know that in order to grow viruses, they have to grow on cells. So what this guy did, he took a petri dish with a mask, and he coughed on the petri dish with the mask on, and then he coughed on another petri dish without the mask. And what happened was, the petri dish without the mask grew more bacteria, not viral cells, because the viruses are too small. They're like hundreds of times smaller than bacteria. You can't even see them. You need an electron microscope to see viruses, and they can't even multiply unless they're on cells. So now it actually proves our point. My point is that when you're wearing a mask and you're breathing or you're coughing in and you're still wearing a mask, you're cultivating bacteria, and the bacteria is growing on the mask. Now, we all have bacteria inside our bodies from our microgut biome, but, you know, there are other processes. We have to keep a imbalance, right? By the foods we eat, the minerals and stuff that we put in our body. If we are coughing it on a mask and it's multiplying in front of us, the more of the bad bacteria that multiplies, and then we start inhaling that back into our bodies after, you know, the quantity of bacteria that's multiplying, that's being held into our body, can actually give us an infection. But the public doesn't know that, so they'll just see that. They're like, oh, well, I guess that the mask does stop germs. I guess it does. But people don't know that. People don't read. People don't know science. Everybody's been dumbed down. That's why I got out of teaching, because I didn't want to like train communist test-taking robots anymore. So yeah, so if anybody shows you that study, you tell them what I tell them. Tell them to look up, can viruses grow in petri dishes? Can they grow on agar, seaweed that they use for the petri dishes? Can they do that? Can they? They don't. They use, that's why I know this, because I'm a vaccine nerd, and that's why they use aborted fetal cells in vaccines. And yeah, I'm an anti-vaxxer, so I know somebody was like, oh my God, she's talking about vaccines. Yeah, I fuck vaccines. So anyway, aborted fetal cells, and they use animal cells and all this stuff to grow the virus to make the vaccines, because they can't grow in a petri dish. So I'm just saying, maybe you guys need to start getting more science illiterate. I have this cocky attitude, I know, but I also, I don't capitulate to somebody because they have a degree or letters behind their name. I used to, because I didn't have confidence, and because I thought that they were the only ones that had the right to know this information. But everything that I've just told you is public information. There's so many resources that you can use to educate yourself about how the human body works. It's out there, right? And a lot of times, people that regurgitate this information, they can't make simple connections, right? Like I was saying about the mask and how it lowers your oxygen, but I see people at the heart hospitals that I used to work at wearing masks all the time. But nobody's made that common sense connection that they're actually making their patient's condition worse by having them do that. Right? And nobody wants to listen to alternative information, talking about how to build up your immune system. That's why I haven't been scared through this whole pandemic, is I drink water, I take vitamin C, I don't eat a shit ton of sugar. If I could, I love sugar, I would, but I don't. These are things that lower your immune system, okay? If you have a good immune system, you can fight off just about anything that you get, okay? People that have been dying with the COVID, I mean, that's a whole nother video about how the tests are faulty and how they're writing people that have other conditions down as COVID victims. But people that have had comorbidity conditions, and a lot of them have been morbidly obese. And that puts so much stress on your immune system, and it makes it really hard for you to fight off, anything that you come in contact with. And they don't tell you that either, because they're just like, oh, so-and-so died, but they don't tell you if he was morbidly obese. They don't tell you that maybe he was put on a ventilator, and like 9 out of 10 people that are put on ventilators die. But there are people that aren't making that connection. They're just like, oh, no. And I've talked about this before. I think I talked about the truth about cancer. There was a guy that was successful at treating patients with cancer, and he was saying that cancer feeds sugar, and he immediately recommends his patients get off sugar. And the interviewer was like, well, how do you know that? Most doctors, they probably don't know that, because when I go to chemotherapy, they're always like candies and cookies and ice cream and all this stuff for them to eat. And he's like, well, yeah, they know it, because when we give them a PET scan, we inject the person radiated sugar, and the places light up because the cancer starts feeding on the sugar, and that's how you detect where the cancer is. I was like, oh my God. It's such an elementary mistake, but I just think it's part of the system. I don't think most doctors and nurses are maliciously doing this to people. I just think that they're very systematically taught certain things. They're really pushed, the type of education they get where it's like sleep deprivation, lots of information, lots of test taking, and then observation, and then repeating. They don't have a chance to have critical thinking, whole brain thinking skills. And then they're all, they're being told that they're the best. And they're also being told for years and years that anything outside of what they're being told is rubbish, is archaic, it's savage, it's stupid, it's woo-woo. So they're going to look down on that information. And all of the doctors that I know that are, that have been trained MDs, that are amazing, that are health freedom activists, they actually took it upon themselves to educate themselves outside of the medical education that they've learned. So this is what I'm saying, you guys, and a lot of them have actually had to admit that when it comes to vaccines and natural health, their patients no more than they do. And that offends a lot of doctors that, think that they're like the cream of the crop because they have a degree. And the thing that gets me, a lot of people, not only they're not like humble and be like, well, I'm just well learned in this subject, but I don't really know anything about else. But they actually have this attitude that I'm just a better human being than you. So that's where I'm just like, I love just not capitulating to those people and not bowing down to those people and catching them in their own bullshit. It gives me great joy. Same thing with lawyers too. I know they're good lawyers. Okay, I just asked for one last week. I'm not dogging on lawyers, I'm dogging on doctors, but I think, you know what? I'm just gonna say this. I know the lawyers, the doctors, the nurses, people in the medical industry, they watch this video and they know who I'm talking about. And they know that they're not like that because they probably work with people that are like that, and they're like, I work with people like that all the time. Yep. So, it's not you. I got much love for you. I got much love for the doctors and nurses that do speak out because they're risking their careers. And it's really scary. I would like to think that I would be able to do that. I would like to think that. I don't know. When I've spent my whole life, preparing for something and believing in something because I want to do something good, and just realizing that everything that I've been told has been 100-degree lie must be very, very devastating. And I know I can be snarky and condescending, but I'm not joking or putting that down. I would just imagine it must be devastating. There was a doctor that I followed who was amazing, and she died. And I was so sad because I really, really, really wanted to meet her. Her name was Dr. Tony Bark. But she said that when she stepped out of the box of her training and she really was getting into comparing what she learned to the other alternative stuff to try to make her decision, she said she was crying. Same thing with another doctor named Larry, Larry Pavlovsky, and I've heard actually a few doctors said that they were just like devastated. They were suicidal. They started crying, you know, and I was just like, and I thought about that too, because I was just like, if I pursued being a doctor and I found this stuff out, like, what would I do? What would I do? And they're also indentured servants because they're in debt slaves. So you better like thank your lucky stars anytime a doctor or nurse or anybody, you know, comes and speaks out. They're doing it because they really care, because they're putting so much at risk to do so. So much, okay? Yeah, I think that's it. I'm a ramble, but that's it. All right, y'all. I will talk to you later. Peace, through love. Bye-bye.